Aussie is up. He says, hi, last week asked you a question on a website, been dropped for the search results, but not de-indexed by Google. Okay. After I checked, there was 4 posts a day for 3 days of posting. That's not natural. Well, it depends. It can be natural, Aussie. It depends. I mean, for like a plumber posting 4 posts a day for 3 days, you're right. That's probably not natural because it's very unusual, right? But for, a tech blog, a technology blog, that's pretty average. If not, that's probably on the lower end or the more conservative side. So, but probably if you're not posting a lot, yeah, that's probably a bit excessive. The website has a T1 branded ring. If I want to fix what happened, what do you think I can do? Disavow the T1 branded ring? I don't think that's the problem. Wait for 3 months. I would wait first. But hold on. A fix from Fiverr worked for me in the past with GSA links penalty. If you're in the U.S. market, I wouldn't suggest that. But if you're outside of the U.S. market, then yeah, you may very well be able to get away with a Fiverr gig that would help. If it's worked in the past for you, it might work again. I don't know. I'm not sure what the gig is, but the website isn't worth a dime. Leave it, and that's it. Well, that's up to you. I mean, it's again, how much work have you put into the project already? And if the website isn't generating any revenue for you, then sometimes recovery is not the best option. In other words, sometimes abandoning it and starting over, or replacing the website. Like, in other words, you might be able to use the same network and just replace the main domain and get some rankings back. It just depends. But sometimes if you're not making revenue from a particular asset and it goes into a penalty, personally, I would definitely abandon it and move on. If it wasn't generating me revenue to begin with, and I got a penalty, I would abandon that and go to another domain, right? Because it's easier to start from scratch or start from, start with a new domain. I shouldn't say from scratch, because if you've already got a network and you've got, a lot of stuff already in place, then it's just a matter of replacing the main domain, and then updating your networks and everything to use the main domain as the main website and the trigger and all that. But that's not very difficult. If that makes sense. Spending time and effort on recovery for a site that wasn't producing revenue to begin with is a waste of time, in my opinion. Although I'm sure other people may have different opinions, I personally would abandon it and start with a new one if it was. But if it was generating revenue prior to the penalty, and you want to recover it, and it's an aged site and all that kind of stuff, then those are some of the things that you can do. I don't think it's a network issue, though. To be honest with you, I've never seen a syndication network ever cause a penalty.
Yeah, Bradley,
go ahead,
if I can for a moment, there was something, it definitely happened on April 18th, because we even saw it on some of the stuff that we're tracking, where things all of a sudden tanked. That was the update that they did for fake news. And so I don't know when this all took place, when his rankings dropped. It's not de-indexed or anything. None of the stuff got de-indexed. Some of it kept steady, and some of it dropped right on the 18th when they did the update. So it could just be that. But we've left some of the stuff alone, right? And we've seen it just come back, because the filters that are being applied don't really apply to what we're doing, since we're not dealing with news. So definitely just wait, man. Just wait. Stop. It's 80-20, right? Apply 80-20. Stop. Leave what you're doing, leave it alone, see if it comes back. And if it doesn't, you should be doing something else that is going to make you money, instead of concentrating all of your time and effort into this that may or may not make you money.
That's right. Okay. The next part of that was, I asked support of Syndication Academy to help me, but they said hump to hang up. Yeah, because support isn't for SEO help or guidance. Support is for if you're having trouble with an account, like logging into a members area or something like that. That's what support is for. The groups and Hump Day Hangouts is for support, for like SEO questions and that sort of thing, guys. And then obviously we have one-on-one if you want it. Am I willing to pay, but would it be any good? Well, it's one-on-one time with us to go over like whatever your property, and when I say with us, with one of us, to look at what you've got and try to come up with a plan. That's basically it. The more prepared you are ahead of time for the meeting, the more that we could serve you during a one-on-one meeting. But again, it's probably unnecessary because your questions can get answered in the groups for the most part. Okay. All right. Let's see. So yeah, and just to follow up on this very quickly, wait for 3 months. I don't know if I'd wait for 3 months, but I would, give it some time. Start working on another project in the meantime, because then if you're patient and you give it a little bit of time and see if it recovers, which it may on its own anyways, just because you probably have been, Aussie, I know you've been a bit aggressive with this whole thing anyways, and that could be part of the problem. You could have triggered a sandbox penalty because of all the the stuff that you've been doing, being a bit too aggressive. That may be the problem. So if you leave it alone, it may come out of the sandbox given some time. So you could be working on another project during that time and then come back to it. And if it hasn't come back out of the sandbox after a little bit of time, then you can proceed with replacing a domain if you want to continue with that asset. Does that make sense? Okay.